All right, so I think that again, that early streak by Gardon was just luck. So I want to try and get as many games for Bernier as we can. We're not going to be a playoff team, so I don't care about it as much. All right, I still want to abide by that rule that you guys want me to do, where I actually use my backup goalie. So I'll make rules like if they lose like 3 games in a row or 2 games in a row or back-to-back games, then I'll switch him out. But right now, since we're trying to get Bernier some experience points, I just want to leave him in there. Garon's already played like 15, 16, 17 games or something along those lines already. Probably more. So, you know what? I don't know who that Hensick guy is. Let me just check it out. You never know. 26 years old. B minus, B minus. Nothing special. I'm getting a 6 as well, and I'm giving up Mickelson, defenseman. Mickelson's really nothing as well, but he's 24. Yeah, you know what? I'd rather just hold on to this guy. Yeah, I don't need a 6th round draft pick. I'll hold on to Mickelson. Yeah, let's go up all the way to the draft. Sorry, not the draft. The trade deadline. Why not? Okay, there's a win. Yeah, we'll leave Bernier in the cage. As long as he doesn't lose like 3 or 4 in a row, we'll take him out then. There's another loss. You see what I mean, though? We win a game, and it's like, it's automatic. As soon as we win a game, we're going to lose the net. Oh, there's 2 in a row. Never mind, just as I'm talking. But we will lose. Now watch, we'll lose another one and another one. We're just not a good team. We just don't have any depth. I mean, we know this is going to happen here. Some wins are going to come. Yeah, sure, why not? But we're not a good team. St. Louis, 24 goals. Stamkos, 42 assists, so that's good. Stamkos has already had a good year. Because I know, yeah, he already has, what, 68 points? Yeah, that's already a good year. It's already a good year for Stamkos. Oh, man. You know what? Like, if the other teams have not had good seasons, we could be like 3 or 4 points out of the playoffs. Hang on a second here. All right, so we're at the the trade deadline, which is perfect. So I'll end up getting these 2 videos out, and then you guys can comment away on the trades that we should make. Because here's the remember we went with option number 3 when we started the season. We're going to go into the season with basically the same team that we have, see what happens, see where we are, and then come January, February, the trade deadline, make our decisions then, all right? We're 29, 27, and 6. And hang on a sec. Let me just look at the points. Stamkos is 4th in the league for points, 69 points. Oh, 69. Yeah. So it's good. He's having a great season. So one of our goals, getting Stamkos, Hedman, and Bernier experience. One of them, it's coming through. What is he? He's up there in assists. Look at that, 44 assists. He's not up there for goals though. That's interesting. Stamkos, I know. Yeah. Look at the Eastern Conference. We're only 4 points out of the playoffs. So I mean, what do you guys think? Should we trade and go for a playoff push? I mean, it's doable. It is doable. Especially the teams that we have to face. I mean, look, we got Montreal. We're not going to catch Montreal. New York, we can catch New York. We're not going to catch Carolina. Ottawa, we could beat Ottawa. They're below us. Washington, no, we're not going to beat Washington. Carolina, no, we're not going to catch Carolina. Boston, we could catch Boston. Toronto, that would be a big game. St. Louis doesn't matter. Buffalo, we're not going to beat Buffalo. Edmonton, Islanders, way down there. Yeah, like, I mean, the games against Boston, and another look at this, Boston, Philly, back-to-back, that would be huge. So we have a good, like, 4 or 5 games, at least, against teams that we're competing with. So the playoffs are well within reach. Well within reach. All right? But, I mean, how realistic is that? We're not a good team, right? I'm pretty much saying if we're going to make the playoffs, we need to pretty much run the table. There's probably 15, 16 games left. We have to win like 10 or 11 of them just to get into 7th or 8th, and we have to win specific games against other teams. So if I have to give my opinion, I don't think we're a playoff team. We're not a playoff team. If I have to say, are we pretenders or contenders? We are pretenders. We should be sellers at the trade deadline, boys. We're right here at the trade deadline. We should be sellers. I know I want to give Stamkos as many points as we can, but I think the time might be here to trade Martin St. Louis. He's 89 overall. He still has a lot to offer, especially a team who's thinking right now to win the Stanley Cup, all right? CCC potential. I would like to keep Martin St. Louis because his potentials are fine, right? Even if they drop to D next year, you will still get one more complete year out of Martin St. Louis at 89 overall. So it's not that I don't want to keep him, but the thing I don't like is he's 36 years old. Is he going to retire after this first year? If we hold on to him and he retires, well, that's just an 89 overall player that we just let go and we got nothing back for it. All right, so I think Martin St. Louis is our best trade assets if we're going to make trades at the trade deadline. We could definitely get 2 or 3 good prospects back for Martin St. Louis. All right, boys. So that's one option. Vincent Lecavalier. Now, this guy doesn't fall into that same category as Martin St. Louis because he's only 31 years old. There's our timer. Perfect. He's only 31 years old, so we can definitely get another 4 years out of Vincent Lecavalier. Still has his C potentials, so he could still get better. He's good defensively, it looks like, which isn't bad. He's a perfect second-line center. The only thing I don't like about Vinny is his salary cap, but we're not going to have a team that's going to be at the top of the salary cap for at least 2 or 3 years. So I would be okay with keeping Vincent Lecavalier. But again, if we're rebuilding, another great trade asset, we could definitely, again, get another 2 or 3 great prospects out of Vincent Lecavalier. But he's only 31, boys. Remember, 10-year GM mode commentary. He could last for the next 5 years, trade him in year 6, and reload for the last 4 years, all right? Same thing with Ryan Malone. He falls into the same category as Vincent Lecavalier. 32 years old, so he only has about 3 years left, but a great power forward. You've seen what the first line's done this year. He's on the first line left wing with a playmaker and a sniper, so he's proven he can get points alongside of Stamkos. So again, if I got to choose one of these players out of these 3, it's got to be Martin St. Louis first, just because he's a good 3-4 years older than Malone and Lecavalier. Everyone else, you're not going to get much back from. Like Adam Hall, 79 grinder, what? I'll get like a 5th-round draft pick for him. Connolly, we're keeping Connolly. Teddy Purcell is somebody that we could trade away. 26 years old, though. I mean, again, he could be somebody who stays on our team for the next 3 years just to see where we are. We have other players that we could trade away before Teddy Purcell. Older players, basically. But our forwards, the 3 forwards that we can trade away that I'm looking at, Malone, Lecavalier, and St. Louis. We switch to defense now. Everyone can go. It's a firestorm sale, all right? Hedman, staying. He's our franchise defenseman. But Brewer can go. All right, I'm pretty sure. How old is Brewer? Hang on. Actually, you know what? Brewer's 32 years old. He doesn't have the greatest discipline, but he actually falls into that 3rd-line defenseman category. I know his salary cap is probably a bit high, but if we had a perfect defensive core, like 4 studs, I wouldn't mind having him on the 3rd line. But the question is, he's 32 years old. Will we be able to get 3 more good defensemen in the next 3 years? Should we hold on to Eric Brewer, because he probably has a good trade value. So he's kind of up in the air for me. He could stay, he could go. Rob Scuderi, he's got to go. 33 years old. We could probably get a little bit of... You know what? He kind of fits into that 3rd-line defenseman spot as well. Like, on a perfect team, I have 4 great defensemen, and then Brewer and Scuderi back on the 3rd line. That would work for me. So same thing with Scuderi, all right? They kind of fall into the same category, Scuderi and Brewer. Oland, he can go. I know he's old, 35 years old. Matthias Oland can go. He doesn't have bad potential, but again, he could retire. He falls into that 3rd-line defenseman role as well, but there's better players that we could find. So Matthias Oland, he's going no matter what. Commodore, Bergeron, these guys can both go. We won't get a lot back for them, but they can both go. And then goaltenders, we could trade Gadon. We wouldn't get a lot back for him. He's only 83 overall, but he's 34 years old. No point in keeping him. We could probably get a 3rd, maybe a 4th-round pick, or maybe add him in with Lecavalier or St. Louis. Just another little trade asset. I'm sure he has like 10% trade. Better than, the crappiest player that you have on your team. So those are the players I'm thinking we could trade away, boys. Gadon. Hang on. Gadon, Brewer, Scuderi, Commodore, Bergeron, Oland. And then Malone, Lecavalier, and St. Louis, all right? So, again, the option is, should we go for the playoffs or just fold it in and work for next year? I think the smart option is just to fold it in. We're not a playoff team. 29, 27, and 6, we pretty much need to run the table to make the playoffs. So if we are going to rebuild, which players should we go for? Which positions should we go for? What player type should we go for, okay? This trade deadline will be the trade deadline that sets us in the direction that we're going to be heading down for the next 5 years, right? The players that we trade for right now are going to be our starters for the next, I'm hoping for the next 9 years after this, okay? So give me some good options here. Who could play well with Hedman? Who could play well with Stamkos? And second liners and second line defensemen. Let me know, boys. Trade deadline year 1. GM Superbman of the Tampa Bay Lightning has a lot of different options to go down, all right? Let me know, boys. Let me know.